Figures. How are you doing? Good. How are you? Good to see you. How's everything in your world? You know, same old madness, another day.
Hey everybody, we're going to get started in just a few minutes, but we do have speaker cards up front if you have not yet had an opportunity to take one and write down any kind of questions or comments you might have. Okay, good evening, everybody. I want to introduce myself. I'm Steve Hankey. I'm the president of the Palm Springs Chamber of Commerce, and I get to welcome you tonight. I want to thank you all for coming to this forum this evening. I've been asked to remind you that we are going to wrap this up tonight around 7:30, so we're in luck if you've got dinner reservations at one of our beautiful restaurants. But introducing the panel, we have Council Members Jeff Coors, Council Member Christy Holstage, and they both serve on the Economic Development and Business Retention Subcommittee. We also have James Canfield, who's the Executive Director of the Palm Springs Convention Center and Bureau of Tourism, and Nona Watson, who's the CEO of the Palm Springs Chamber. Also in attendance tonight is Chief Brian Reyes, who will be giving us an update on crime as it relates to business. Is he? Oh, there he is, right over there. So tonight we're going to be discussing 5 topics based on the interest of the business community. And those topics are tourism and convention, the economic incentives and sign ordinance, homelessness issues, crime prevention, and how the chamber is here to help your business. If you wish to address an issue other than those that are on the agenda, I want to remind you that there is a May 1st community forum right back here at the Palm Springs Convention Center with Council Members Roberts and Coors. We'll start. I want to introduce Council Members Jeff Coors and Christy Holstage.
Thank you, and welcome everyone. This is a little more informal than a council meeting, and that's intentional, so we can have a little more input and dialogue. But one thing I did want to let everyone know, we do have a newly reactivated Economic Development and Business Retention Subcommittee that Councilmember Holstage and I are on. And we're starting to have monthly meetings. So I actually have a question to start this off, and since the folks who are here are the ones here, you get to make the decision for us. Do people generally find it better to have meetings in the morning, middle of the day, or after work hours, like 5:30? So just raise your hand if you prefer morning meetings. Okay, that's it. Middle of the day and after work. Okay. Thank you. That is helpful because we want to make sure we are taking that into account. And what that subcommittee is going to be doing is looking at really 2 things, and we'll talk about those throughout tonight. But one is, what can we as a city do working with our local businesses, with the chamber, to be as helpful as possible to the business community, to keep businesses here, to help them flourish? And the other is similar, but it deals with economic incentives. Over a period of time, the city has done various economic incentives for businesses, which we'll go over. But we'd love any ideas you have for different kinds. We have some, but we really want to get input tonight on what economic incentives you as business owners think would be most beneficial, that would make sense for the city to partner with you on. So that's a little bit what the subcommittee will be doing on an ongoing basis.
And just to reiterate that, we had been talking about bringing forward new programs to support local businesses, since we know local businesses and the workers are the lifeblood of our economy. And Councilmember Kors and I thought of having a forum before we went forward in approving different economic incentive programs, different programs to support businesses. We really want to hear from you. And so that's the goal tonight. And we have a short presentation by each of us, just 5 minutes each, to talk about what we are doing as a city to support local businesses. But really we want to hear from you, your ideas, and maybe not right now, but really forward looking to think about if the city could provide incentives or programs to help you better operate your business or to grow in Palm Springs, how we can best do that. So thank you all for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. And before I introduce tonight's first speaker, I want to make sure that we introduce our city staff, comprised of City Manager David H. Reddy, Assistant City Manager Marcus Fuller, City Clerk Anthony Mejia, Jay Verada, the Director of Community and Economic Development, and Kathy Van Horn, Economic Development Administrator. I also want to remind you that if you, throughout the presentations tonight, we do have speaker cards up here on the front. If you want to just come up and grab one and fill it out during the presentations, you're welcome to do that. We'll begin with James Canfield, the Executive Director of the Palm Springs Convention Center and Bureau of Tourism, on a tourism and convention update.
Great. Thanks, Stephen. Great to see everybody, a lot of familiar faces out there. Welcome to my house, as they say, the Convention Center. It's really your house and the city's house. But it's great to see you all here tonight. I thought I would start, I can see it right in front of me. I thought I would start with showing one of our tourism marketing videos that our Bureau of Tourism has put together. So if we could roll that video.
Hey now, take a step outside and seize the day now. Set aside your worries, it's okay now. The sun is here to stay. Blue skies, feel the wind beneath you as you fly by. Dancing on a cloud, it lifts you high, high, high. Your troubles blow away. It goes
Palm Springs. Go to visitpalmsprings.com.
Now, doesn't that look like a place you would like to go? We're spoiled because we get to be here all the time. Just so you know, that's actually one of our video spots that's run in KTLA. It runs in Time Warner in a lot of our drive and direct flight markets. And we're working now on a new one for this coming summer program. So the next time I see you, we'll show you the new one. We just didn't have it done in time for tonight. So as everybody knows, you know, tourism is really recognized as the #1 industry in Palm Springs. And the tourism industry coming out of the recession has really led the economic resurgence that the city has seen over the last 10 years. The city, through the Convention Center and the Bureau of Tourism, works closely in partnership with many of our the other organizations in the city. Well, they're gone now, but and you know, it is all about partnership, and we all work very closely to get these strong results. The partnership between our city and the business community has been a big part of our renaissance. So a little of the fun stuff now, as we like to say, out with the old and in with the new. Now, this would be a great place where people could clap if they like kind of what's happened downtown. And I know it had its moments, but I'll tell you what, when you walk through there, what you see are a lot of happy visitors and a lot of happy residents enjoying everything that's positive about Palm Springs. Overall, Palm Springs is hot. Great slide. The economy is booming. Taxable retail sales in Palm Springs have grown 50% over the last 7 years and are now contributing over $25 million in revenue to the city. In 2017 alone, our merchants experienced over $1.3 billion in taxable retail sales in the city of Palm Springs, which is pretty incredible considering we have, 45,000 residents here. So the tourists are a very important part of the business community, and I know a lot of you count on them. The city obviously makes significant investment to help support the economy. They help us with marketing. They help us by bringing in special events, infrastructure projects, and keeping an eye on our public safety, which is also very important. The city supports our signature small hotels through the formation of a business improvement district that we put in place 2 years ago. You're a little behind, huh? There we go, the small hotels. We have 73 small hotels in the city, and through the Bureau of Tourism, we help administer a program where they have a self-assessment, where they can put together their own marketing programs to benefit the small hotels. The city also obviously supports our world-class, world-renowned airport. This year we surpassed 2.1 million passengers being handled at that airport. It's been recognized as one of the most convenient, stress-free airports, not only in the country but in the world. I know all of us love to fly in and out of there every chance we get. The city supports the creation of special events and other activities through PS Resorts. A lot of you know who PS Resorts is. I know that you work closely with them, and they help fund some of our key events in the city. The city also is a member of the Greater Palm Springs CVB, that's the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Not only does the city sit at the table, I'm on the board there. Actually, Councilmember Kors is on the board there. And the city does make some contribution to that, but gets that investment repaid tenfold. One of the key things, a key effort that the CVB has in place for this year is a tourism ambassador program, a certified tourism ambassador program. So what we're going to be doing is training all of our frontline employees to be tourism ambassadors for the entire destination, which will be very exciting. There'll be, it's actually a certification program, so right now we're working on developing the curriculum for that. We think it's something that's really going to pay great benefits for us moving forward. From the convention center standpoint, and thanks for coming tonight, we continue to have record years, both in the actual events that we bring in and bookings for future years. In 17, we had over 75,000 room nights generated from convention center events, and we booked over 83,000 room nights for future years, and those are both records for us, so that's very exciting. We've currently got over 426,000 room nights on the books for future years. That's tentative and definite, but that's twice kind of what the average has been over the last few years. So we've really seen incredible growth, and the future really looks bright. The city also funds the Bureau of Tourism. You've heard me talk about that. If you could go on to the next slide. Our Bureau of Tourism focuses on marketing and public relations efforts specific for Palm Springs retail, restaurants, hotels, and other hospitality industry businesses, our attractions, etc. We also operate the 2 visitor centers, one at Tramway Road and one downtown at the Wellwood Murray. So once the people get here, we make sure they know where to go. We feature only Palm Springs businesses. We have over 750 hospitality industry stakeholder partners that we feature on our website, on our electronic kiosks, and through our staff at our visitor centers. Next slide, please. So, you know, for us, it's all about partnership. That's a partnership with the Chamber of Commerce. It's a partnership with the CVB. It's a partnership with our Main Street organization, all of our business community. And, you know, I hate to ever be cliched, but there are two that I love. One is you don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. And the other one is it takes a village. And Palm Springs is really a great example of that. Our success here in Palm Springs is built on the partnership between our city, our businesses, and our residents. And not only is now great, but the future looks very bright.
Thank you, Jamie. Next up, we're going to have Councilmember Jeff Kors, who's going to talk about economic incentives, the sign ordinance, and hotel incentives.
Hi, everyone. So I want to go through just some of the incentives that have been offered over the last 10 years, because they're going to help, hopefully get people thinking about the kind of incentives that would be helpful for your businesses and help Councilmember Holstetter and I as we look at programs. So 10 years ago, the prior city council started a facade improvement program. And this was really limited to uptown and downtown, primarily to really get the main core of the city's economic engine moving, given the closed down mall. Certain planning fees were waived, but 121 grants were awarded to increase and help businesses improve facades. So the city funded $373,000 of that, which brought us to almost $600,000 combined to really give facelifts to our businesses. And I think the next slide just has a couple photos. The next program that was started was in 2010, and this was a match grant up to $25,000 for interior remodels, mostly focused on restaurants, but not exclusively. And the city gave 10 interior remodel grants totaling $164,000, combined with how much the tenants, the business owners put in, brought to $773,000. So again, the city's not paying for all of it, but we're providing funds to supplement when people put their own money in to improve their businesses, which hopefully generates more traffic, brings in more sales tax, brings in more revenue for the business, makes a better environment for our residents and our tourists, just sort of a win all around. I think we have a couple pictures of those. And now we can go to the next one. In 2013, there was a special focus area program that included facades, interior, and actually major projects. This was outside of the core of downtown. It was north of Tachiva and south of Ramon. And grants went up to $250,000 for a full remodel of what was otherwise an empty building. And we gave 15 facade grants, 8 interior grants, 5 major projects awards, and the combined about $8 million was spent. Again, most of it private investment, but the city supplemented to help businesses who put in their own money to do these major remodels. We can go to a couple pictures of those. Draftsman and Ernest and a whole bunch of businesses that were able to use that project. In 2014, there was another facade improvement project, but this time it was citywide. It became open to all businesses. The match requirement was waived for sort of the downtown corridor, but this was open to more businesses than just downtown. And again, $100,000 was given from the city, about $500,000 from the business owners to make that work. Here are a couple of them. Looks familiar, guys. And then next are sort of other incentive programs we had. So the first one is the hotel incentive program. And you can see all the data up there, but I just want to highlight a couple things. There are 2 different hotel incentive programs that the prior council had put into place. One was for new hotels. There hadn't been a new hotel for several decades built in Palm Springs. And there was a different amount depending on the luxury or non-luxury hotel. And it went anywhere from 50% share of the TOT that was generated. And again, there was no TOT being generated at these properties before, since there was no hotel there, for 10 years, or up to 75% for 30 years for a luxury hotel. And there are just a few hotels who qualified for that. The Kimpton and Arrive are two that have opened. The Virgin is slated. The Dream Hotel has started. And then on Wednesday night, we'll be discussing the Auberge Hotel, which would go at the old Orchid Tree in the tennis club neighborhood. Those were all previously approved for this program, and that program no longer exists. The other program was a renovation program. So if a hotel put 100% of their own money into renovating their property, for 10 years, any increase in the TOT that was generated before the renovation, because they're getting higher room nights, was split. 50% with a hotel, 50% with a city. So again, no money the city would have had otherwise. It's only new money. And combined, you can see over $200 million in investment into the hotels in Palm Springs. And of course, that investment comes with jobs for people who build the hotels and work in the hotels. And $7 million in increase in TOT just from the renovated hotels. So that program was very successful in doing what it was set out to do. That also has sunsetted out, but it's something we'll talk about as we move forward. We can move on. You can see the growth in TOT over the last 10 years from 12.8 million to 29.3 million. That is all money generated from people staying in hotels and vacation rentals. The blue number at the bottom is a vacation rental number, and the red are the hotels, just so people know the difference between those two. And all that money, of course, goes to pay for the services that we get as residents. And if we go to the next, here are just a couple of the hotels that took advantage of the program. Palm Springs iHub and Accelerator. So we're one of the first ones. It was a state program. We're one of the first ones in the state. And we have a campus, and it's 50,000 plus square feet. And it's really to incubate new businesses. The focus is on renewable energy and advanced technologies. There are 38 clients currently, and 175 jobs have been created. These incubator businesses have generated over $1 million in revenue and sales, and they've patented or trademarked 22 of their ideas. So that's all what's been going on there. And that's just something, really, if you want to incubate a business, particularly in those fields, we can connect you with the right people if people want to do that. We can go on, sort of, and this is just some of the folks. We can skip through here. We have a job creation incentive program, and basically it credits back certain building fees for a minimum of 50 new jobs, $1,000 per job in waiver or repayment of building fees up to $50,000. One business has taken advantage of that to date, but that program does exist in that state now. And we can move on. And a couple other things we want to touch on. The sign ordinance. The sign ordinance, due to Supreme Court cases and a lot of input and a lot of stakeholders meeting, was amended. One thing that changed were portable signs. So portable signs were allowed temporarily in downtown, uptown, in the recession and with the closed mall. That was sunsetting. Instead of sunsetting, we now allow every business to have a portable sign, and this is on city-owned property. There's the sandwich boards you see. This anywhere in the city. It's not just downtown and uptown anymore. We also increased accessory signs. So if you can't have a portable sign, it just doesn't fit. There are places where you'd be blocking the sidewalk, it doesn't work. We allow an accessory sign, an additional sign of another nature, so everyone gets fair treatment. Something now called service signs. Restaurants used to get something known as a menu board. They can put out a menu, you've seen it, I'm sure, at restaurants. To be fair, every business can now have a similar board, and they can put anything they want on it. You can product, you're having a sale, wish people a lovely day, anything you'd like. We won't restrict your speech. We can't, and we shouldn't. But everyone now gets one of those as well. So that's another additional sign every business gets. Directory signs. So these are allowed. There are a lot of multi-tenant buildings, and there's a process with the city to apply to be part of a sign program if you're in a multi-tenant building. So if you're in an alcove, per se, and you don't have street frontage, you can get your landlord to apply for a multi-tenant sign so people know where you are. So that's sort of on the sign program. I do want to say one thing. As we put the new sign program into effect on portable signs, in some locations, they're supposed to be as close to the building as possible to keep a clear sidewalk path so we comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act. The city gets sued on that, and businesses actually take on the liability if we are, or the business is sued for violating the ADA. So we have certain space requirements. In some locations, it doesn't work closest to the building, and actually it would keep the sidewalk more clear if it was closer to the street. So the city manager and the assistant city manager and I went out with a tape measure around the city, and we will be proposing, and I'm going to propose it Wednesday night, a waiver provision where a business can ask for a different location based on their unique circumstances. So we will be rolling that out because, as we learn when we do an ordinance, if something's not working for folks, we need to hear about it, and we're going to come up with a process that will hopefully allow more businesses to be able to comply and have sandwich boards. But again, if your business doesn't work, you can have an extra accessory sign. So we want to make sure everyone gets treated similarly. Downtown parking, obviously really important. We have more than 1,500 new spots under the new downtown development, and we're building 124 underground parking spaces at the Andis that are not for the hotel, they are for the public. So that will be coming on when that hotel opens up. And the final, I think. And here are the things that Councilmember Holstedge and I have been talking about at our meetings that we're thinking about. We'd love your feedback on these when you make comments or any other ideas. So one is we do have areas of the city that are food deserts. There's not a place with fresh groceries anywhere nearby. So we want to look at how the city can incentivize getting groceries up in the north end. We know we have an issue, but there are other areas. Also, how we can get gas stations with mini marts to have a refrigerated section with fresh food as well. So we want to look at how we can provide financial support and other incentives to help get fresh food throughout the city and not just in certain areas. We'd like to look at ways to expand that job creation program I mentioned for less employees, but a way to get good jobs and help a business. You take a chance when you're hiring new people and trying to expand. How can the city be supportive of those efforts? The hotel renovation program, the one we're somewhat interested in looking at is the remodel program, where we're sharing only the increase in TOT. But one of the complaints we heard about that program was some of the smaller hotels that aren't as expensive and can't put the kind of numbers that were required into renovating to be able to participate as well. We want to open it up, if we're going to do it, to a much wider group of hotels than previously. We're looking at ways, and the iHub is one of them, but how do we do things to incentivize green energy and technology jobs here? Jobs that people can get the skills they need, both at the high school here, at our community and our other colleges, and be able to find good jobs. Housing affordability, right? It's not just affordable housing for people who are very low income, but housing that's affordable for working families. How do we build that in Palm Springs? And some of the options we've talked about are increasing density if someone is willing to keep their prices or their rents below market. So things we can look at there. And the final thing is looking at how we might recreate a facade improvement program that will allow businesses who put their own money into improving how they look on the outside get some city support. So those are ideas, and after everyone's done, we'll look forward to hearing some of yours. So thank you all very much for being here.
Thank you, Councilmember Kors. Next is Councilmember Holstedge, and she'll be talking about the homeless success and vacant building ordinance.
Thank you. And Councilmember Kors really did go out to measure different signs around our city. So we're thankful for that. We have a hands-on council. I get to talk about everyone's favorite topic, homelessness, and then also relatedly our vacant building ordinance that the council just recently moved forward. So some people don't know, but the county is actually the main provider of homelessness services for our area. Our city doesn't have a social services department where we provide a lot of those services or that type of funding. Because our county has financial issues, the city of Palm Springs has really stepped up to address and alleviate homelessness in Palm Springs, because we hear from our residents, our business community, that this is an issue that they want the city of Palm Springs to take a leadership role on. So this is the amount of money that we spend as the city of Palm Springs on homelessness services, about $1.2 million per year. I'll go through some of those really quickly. One really exciting program is the Coachella Valley Association of Government CV Housing First program. So we've heard feedback after Roy's closed last year. People were concerned about a gap in services and what we could do to make sure that people have housing in the West Valley in particular, since a lot of the shelters are in Indio. And so CVAG has a regional program for rapid rehousing and housing services for people who are homeless in Palm Springs and the other cities in the West Valley. And because of a match from the Desert Healthcare District, which some of our council members were important in obtaining from the Healthcare District, that program in and of itself, including Palm Springs funding at $106,000 and $100,000 from all of the other cities, and then a matching incentive from the Healthcare District to make sure that the cities continue to pay. The tribes just entered into that program, and so the total funding is $1.7 million from the region to provide housing services to people who are homeless in Palm Springs. So that is through the Path of Life Ministries, which is the provider of that program. And they just opened an office in the city of Palm Springs. And so I went to that opening a few months ago, and they're actually hands-on providing services in the city of Palm Springs. So it's a different model to sort of wrap our heads around, because there's not one shelter, but what they're doing is providing vouchers for housing for people who are homeless, and immediate vouchers. Housing First means that they get a voucher and they get housing first before having to enter into treatment programs or different programs that might be a barrier to entry for housing. So that's a really exciting regional program that really the city of Palm Springs has taken a leadership role to make sure that everyone participates in. We also provide funding for the Well in the Desert and their cooling center in downtown. We have worked to provide mental health services through a crisis response team working in partnership with our police department, and we have dedicated homeless officers and community policing officers who are working in tandem with this crisis behavioral health team that actually goes, talks to people, makes referrals, and we track those referrals that are given to mental health resources, to housing, to drug and alcohol treatment programs, and we track all of those data, and that's been a really effective way that we've gotten people off the streets in Palm Springs and into programs that we know work. And we actually just expanded that to 2 teams. So now, before we only had 1 team working a certain amount of hours, but now we actually, through grant matching funds through the Desert Healthcare District, can have 2 teams. So they can work after hours, on weekends, to really have people go out to people who are facing homelessness, so that we have a crisis response team that's not only the police. So that's been really effective. And we have all that data on our website. We have the City of Palm Springs, we have a page just for our homelessness work. You can see there the other types of grant funding and programs that we do on homeless services. The next slide. This is the Housing Crisis Response Team. So you can see the numbers just for the fiscal year. 57 people were sent to sustainable housing. 420 were referred to behavioral health. 399 were referred to substance use clinics and treatment. So you can see we're making 876 contacts with people who are homeless in Palm Springs, that's just in our city, and referring them to services. And that's really what the data shows makes a difference. Other incentives, Council Member Coors and I are working on a county fire station that the city has leased to provide respite care, it's called, for people who are discharged from the hospital, people who are homeless, who are often pushed out onto the streets. I know a lot of us have seen people wandering the streets in their hospital gowns or barefoot. I've seen that myself. And so we're working to provide a solution there so that people won't just be pushed out onto the streets, but actually can get into a program and to get supportive services so they can get into the pipeline for housing, which is really important. One exciting part of that program is that it can be funded by insurance monies or IEHP or Medi-Cal, so that way it could be a self-sustaining project and program so that insurance can pay for those hospital nights or the respite care. We did a homeless point in time count. We had almost double the volunteers that we had last year. Thank you to anyone who participated. And after that count, we had double the people going out and counting. We had better weather. It wasn't rainy this year when we did it. And we thought that, and Councilmember Kors and I really wanted to get an accurate count of people who are homeless in Palm Springs. And I, for one, thought that the count of people who are homeless in Palm Springs would go up with double the volunteers, but actually it went down. And we are one of the only cities in the entire region where homelessness went down in Palm Springs. Other cities are seeing increases. And so that is really reassuring to us that what we're doing on homelessness in Palm Springs is working, and that we're actually doing work to alleviate homelessness. I covered a lot of that other work that we're doing. So next is the vacant building ordinance. And so just an overview. This was really thought of, and I'm grateful for the city staff and the council for taking this on, because this was a big problem in our downtown and throughout our city, but primarily having vacant commercial buildings downtown on Palm Canyon, that became an attractive nuisance. So a lot of those vacant buildings, though they were required to be boarded up, they weren't required to be maintained in the ways that we now require. And so this is going to go a long way in protecting public safety and health and welfare in our downtown areas. So it addresses blight, it addresses nuisances. A lot of complaints I hear from business owners are that vagrants or people are living in the buildings, or there's criminal activity like drug use happening in certain areas. And so I'm really proud of this vacant building ordinance, because I think it goes a long way to actually require property owners to have standards for the boarding of doors and windows so they're not accessible, and it gives the city a lot of power to actually enforce those requirements. So for the next slide, to get into the depth, so this way we're actually better equipped to address blighted properties. And so you can see the definition of blighted properties that we can actually address. So, things like fire hazards, which we're always worried about businesses and affecting other businesses in surrounding areas, or shelter, or waste and trash. Next slide. And so these are the requirements, that vacant buildings must be registered with the city, and they have to have a monitoring plan. So they have to have a plan about how they're going to report and their progress and monitor their property for these types of violations and health concerns that we've been seeing. And so there's significant fees and fines, so we can actually have some teeth and make sure that we can continue to have a beautiful downtown that's attractive to residents and tourists, and doesn't contribute to blight. I think that's my last slide.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Halstage. Now we want to invite Police Chief Reyes to make some comments about crime prevention and what the police department is doing to assist businesses with homelessness.
Okay, this first slide speaks volumes in regards to what we have accomplished. When I say we, not the police department, I'm talking about the partnership with 1PS and our community at large, as well as our business community. You see the top there, 47% decrease in residential burglaries alone year over year, and another 31% decrease when it comes to burglary non-residential, which is specifically all business related burglaries. And as you see, every category is going down in crime as far as our decreases. One thing that's a tremendous takeaway from here, just to reinforce the success that we've had, is we have a lot of hurdles in our profession. With the passage of various assembly bills and propositions, watering down crime in California, coupled with our Riverside County jail system. Our Riverside County jail system alone has released over 40,000 inmates prior to when they were scheduled to be released because of overcrowding. What happened is now we're finding people sentenced to county jail where they're doing 2 to 3 years in a county jail system, which is causing the overcrowding. Criminals are gaming the criminal justice system now. They're fully aware of this. They're showing up at their first court appearance, pleading guilty to all their property-related crimes. They may have multiple cases, all to get sentenced to county jail and to be let released early, far sooner than they were supposed to, with a clean slate to start over. So 2 years ago, this was in place over 2 years ago. Understanding that, we made it a very strong effort via 1PS in our organized neighborhoods to reinforce the message from the police department of prevention before it occurs. Because when it occurs, there's not much punishment to the crime. So with that having been said, the message obviously has been carried. As you see, with all those hurdles that we have decreases in every single category as it relates to property crimes. Quite an accomplishment with all the relationships that we've had with our community. Now here, realizing all the development and everything going on downtown, I approached the city manager and explained the need for additional resources downtown. And thankful to the city council and the city manager making it happen, added 4 additional officers and 2 non-sworn support staff specifically for our business district. Knowing that there's a lot of growth, development going downtown, it's very difficult to address the petty theft crimes that there's no punishment for, but also the homelessness. Because, working in a tourist destination, we have a different audience every 72, 96 hours. Every 3 to 4 days, you have a different audience that comes in on vacation and is giving cash to the homeless, and it's causing a bigger draw downtown. The 4 additional officers and the CSOs have all been dedicated 100% downtown to address all things downtown, to include a sergeant to oversee them, as well as a manager. I relocated one of my managers out of the station, who's now located 3 out of our 4 work days right out of the downtown district. We have the ability to send these team members out to not only downtown district, but citywide to assist business owners in looking at ways to prevent crime through environmental design, strengthening their lighting and shrubbery and so forth around their businesses to prevent it before it occurs. That's my report.
And thank you, and the department.
Okay, thank you, Chief Reyes. Next up, we have Nona Watson, the CEO of the Palm Springs Chamber of Commerce. We'll talk about the mission of the Chamber and what the Chamber does to offer assistance to businesses, including their new co-working space.
Yes, thank you. I feel a little bit like I'm preaching to the choir. Looking around the room, there's so many chamber members and so many of my board members in the room. It's very exciting for me. I have been running the Palm Springs Chamber for a little over 8 years now, but I have about 26 years altogether in chamber management. In Palm Springs, we have a little over 1,000, about 1,035 members, which makes us a very strong chamber in this valley. And that is just Palm Springs. We have not had, to combine with other cities to become that strong. So the mission, or what a chamber does in a nutshell, is that we are a group of business professionals whose sole purpose is to make sure your business succeeds. And that's really what we do. We have programs and services that we provide that will help you succeed as a business person. And even though we're a membership-driven organization, it doesn't mean that you have to show up and you have to do everything, not like a gym where you see results when you're there every day. There's a lot of things the chamber can do for you with your membership. And it starts really from the very beginning, with your ribbon cutting and your grand opening. Look at us as a part of your marketing plan or an extension of your business or another employee, because we can help you every step of the way. Your grand opening ribbon cutting, as I've said, we invite the mayor, the city council, we invite the community to come out and really welcome you into our community as a new business. Again, a piece of your marketing plan. If you have something that you want to advertise, use your Chamber of Commerce. We have over 4,000 businesses that are in our database that we can e-blast your information out. We can make sure that the community knows what you're doing. We do programs and services. So if you need employee training, or if there's an issue that really affects your business, come to the chamber and say, we would really like for you to do a workshop or a seminar on this issue. And that's what your Chamber of Commerce will do. So really look at us as another piece of your business. And I know a lot of you in here have used us for that. We have a great relationship with our city staff and our council. So if there's any issues or concerns that you have in your business, please come to us and we will be that liaison between the city and your business. If you have an issue that you just like to speak to the chamber about, we can figure out a way to make your problem go away, and we can work with you. If I don't have the answers, believe me, I know where to go to get the answers. And we are a key component in this city. We do programs and services like our police and fire, if you want to come out and meet your service professionals. We do the State of the City, so we put on big events so that if you want to meet people that you wouldn't normally meet in your business, you join the chamber, you come to our events, and you network your business. And so there's all different avenues. There's a way to get involved. There's a way for us to work with you if you don't want to get involved. We have a very active business, we call it BAC, an advocacy committee. So if there's a federal issue or a state issue or a local issue that's affecting your business, you can come to the chamber, bring it to our BAC committee, and we can discuss that, and we can figure out a way to get behind you on that, to bring it to city council, or to see if there's a way we can work with the California Chamber to help you with that issue. So we have a lot of different arms. We're very lucky in Palm Springs that we're also right in the middle of the downtown. So we have 70 visitors a day or more that come through our doors. So if your information is there, and somebody comes in and as they do every day, you know, we're here for the weekend, help us plan our weekend. Well, here's the businesses you should go see. Here's the things that you should do. We publish a beautiful City Guide magazine, and we're very, very proud of our City Guide magazine. We publish 20,000 of them, 16,000 we mail to the residents of Palm Springs. But we also use that as a relocation package. So if somebody calls our office and says, we're going to move our business to Palm Springs, or we're going to move to Palm Springs, what can you send us? That's what we send. And as a chamber member, you're already in there, but we also have a lot of city information in there. And I'm very proud that we publish it in a way that's very attractive and really reflects our city. It looks like Palm Springs. And as I've said, our business is right in the downtown, and it's 60 years old. So this year, actually last year at Retreat, the board of directors, we have 19 board of directors that run our Chamber of Commerce, they got together at an annual retreat and they tried to decide, now what is the best use of this beautiful space that we own? And looking ahead at the way we're doing business in the future, they said, you know, really we should look at turning it into a co-working space. And this is a space where people can come that don't really necessarily need brick and mortar buildings, but they have ideas, or they have a company, or they have something that they're trying to get their word out. And you can come in, you can sit down, you can plug in, whether you're a resident, whether you're a visitor. Just come into our office and start working. And the advantage of that is that you can go to Starbucks or you can go to the lobby of your hotel, but in our office you can talk to people, you can get your word out. My president, Stephen Hankey, is famous for saying, you know, if an idea starts in Palm Springs, we want it to grow and we want it to stay here. And really that was our goal in producing and making this co-working space, and it really turned out, I think it was far above our expectations. It's a beautiful place to work. We're really close to the mountain. You can come in, use the copy machine, use the chamber staff, talk to people about your ideas. It's a very comfortable, very warm, very inviting space to work. And the people that we've had come through, we had somebody who rented our space for a month, and they said it was one of the best experiences they've had with a co-working space. And they do co-working all over the United States. So we're very, very proud of that. So if there's any issues with your business, any questions that you have, your Chamber of Commerce is the place to come. And like I said, we have the best working relationship with our city. So we're all partners, and we're all here to make sure that your business succeeds.
Thank you, Nona. So now we're gonna open this up for public comment, and we do have the speaker cards up in the front. I have a pile of them in order, and I'll invite people up to the podium in that order. We want to have as many thoughts shared with the panel as possible tonight. So we are going to try to keep the comments to about 2 minutes, if you would. And we want to remind everyone, if you could, keep your comments specific to the agenda items that you heard discussed tonight. Because we want to be sure that we stay focused on the ideas that the panel has already shared, if that's possible. And we can start the evening by inviting Kathy Friedel. Is Kathy here? Thank you.
I didn't think I would be first, but that's exciting. My name's Kathy Friedel, and my husband and I are the co-owners of the Monkey Tree Hotel, and we restored it and opened it in 2016. And I wanted to speak for 1 minute about construction noise. Construction noise is not a friend to the tourism business. In fact, there's nothing more disruptive to a wonderful vacation than the sound of a morning jackhammer or a bulldozer. I worked as an architect in the field of construction for 20 years, and I know that restrictions can be put in place by a city to limit noise during the most offensive times and still allow overall construction progress. I would like to propose a ban on construction during the Palm Springs high season, February, March, and April, and to ban construction on Saturdays and Sundays throughout the year when people are trying to enjoy their weekends. Occasionally, we have to refund guests and suffer through bad reviews due to excessive noise complaints by construction. This hurts not only us, but all of the tourism businesses, including restaurants. Please help us to control the construction noise to benefit all businesses and keep the tourist happy and returning year after year. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're not going to respond to each comment, but we are taking notes. We have staff taking minutes. And so Jeff and I were just saying we should add some of these types of issues to our agendas for our standing subcommittees meetings, which are online and published and noticed. So even though we're not commenting for each one, because we really want to take this time to hear from you, we are listening and taking notes, and we will address a lot of these issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'd like to invite Jeffrey Bernstein.
Thank you. I'm Jeffrey Bernstein, owner of Destination PSP in Chelsea Lane. I would like to recommend that there is someone in the city who is an advocate for locally owned businesses. I believe, I love the local business support that we're getting, but I think a lot of it is geared towards big national brands. You look at, and I think local owners, they reinvest in the community, they support our charities, which is a big part of our appeal, and they also, it's what makes Palm Springs really like no place else. But if you look at what happens, a lot of the support, a lot of the things are sort of geared towards big brands. And I'm very excited to have H&M and Kiehl's and Blaze here, but you know, they don't really worry about having a portable sign in front like we do, and thank you for coming out and measuring it. You know, they're the ones who will benefit by having 50 employees, and you know, I've got 20, but I won't make it, you know, that far. When you look at the solar program that we're talking about in the city, it really affects a small business because our electrical is astronomical in the summer. So my recommendation is that somebody is not just supporting local business, but locally owned businesses. And just on that note, if you look at all the hype that goes on, even the city's own social media is really about national brands. I looked on your Facebook page, and there was dozens of things about Kimpton and Porsche and H&M, and 3 about small ones. And as great as the Kimpton is, Monkey Tree and Holiday House and the Serenas Villas are what really make our town special. So that's my recommendation and hope. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'd like to invite Jim Stewart.
Hi there. I usually wear 2 hats. Today I'm not wearing my parole board hat. There is no more parole, practically, except for lifers. So that homeless situation will grow as our sheriff is forced to release more and more prisoners, and I want everybody to know you got one of the best police chiefs in the state of California and around, and he really... As a commercial broker, I'd like to suggest that that your committee put together a thing with commercial brokers so that we have maybe a quarterly meeting with the commercial agents that serve Palm Springs. I know what the gentleman just said about the smaller businesses, but it took quite a bit to bring BMW here. If it wasn't for your city manager and David Reddy and I, that deal would never have happened, which now brings Porsche too. And I'm sure David has told you guys what it took to put all that together, and now we might even have a neighborhood Walmart because of that whole real estate transaction. So there's all kinds of real estate transactions that are very important, and I think maybe that the committee should work with you've only got about 6 or 8 commercial brokers that really work Palm Springs commercially. And I mean, I put together the deal for the land that we're sitting on right now. And it just goes on, and we have a lot of that, and we have people that wanting to come. I know that I've had the pleasure, and I have to say, I call up Flynn. Hey, I got somebody I have already groomed that person for Palm Springs. I call them up, bring them in, and that's how it works. And we need more brokers to know that they can do that. And I'm grateful for Flynn because he opens that door. And just in the last 2 weeks, 2 new businesses coming to Palm Springs. So maybe some sort of committee to work with you, strictly with the commercial brokers on a very private thing, so we know what you want.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we'd like to invite John Stiles.
Hi. I've been involved in the business community in Palm Springs since 1970 as a banker, as a commercial broker, as an economic developer. I've seen the ups and downs, the t-shirt shops, the phenomenal resurgence. But one of the things I think that's held true through that, when people come to town, they want a response. They want to feel that the city is going to put their arms around them and welcome them. They don't want their project buried in bureaucratic process. And I would say that we do have holdups now. I would take you back to probably the mid-90s when the city went through and reviewed things and cleaned up the processes so it can be done. I think you have to have an attitude, which I see mostly in City Hall, very positive. But there are 4 parking spaces in front of the planning department off El Cielo. Those used to be public parking places, and all of a sudden they're turned over to the city employees for their trucks. Now, I don't know why the city employee can't walk a half a block from the back parking lot, and if I really want to look at that, I translate it to arrogance of the city, which is just an outward, people not thinking about the customers. Who's the customer? The guy who walks in the door, not the employee. But I think really what we've got such a fantastic thing going on right now. We need to be more responsive. That doesn't mean that you speed things up or you break the rules. It means that you talk to people. Your counter people, I think, do a very good job. I've watched them over the years, and some of the crazy people they get, they're pretty good. But I think you need to look at your process. If you need more people, hire them, to get the job done. And that way, I think you'll have a better business community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next up, we want to invite Daryl Baum. Daryl Baum? He had to leave? Okay. Felix, it's you then. Felix Tipper.
First of all, I'd like to thank you all for having this event because I think it's really wonderful. As you said, it does take a village, and Palm Springs is just that. To what Jeffrey said, I'm going to sort of agree, not sort of, I would like to definitely agree and say that I feel that some sort of council or board in some sort for smaller businesses to make sure that their voice is heard and that they are up to date and know about just about everything that's going to affect them. I'm trying to you've been to my place. We are definitely being affected by the sign ordinance. I won't go into that now because I have a couple questions because it sounds like it may be a little different based on where we are. But to be able to have some sort of voice that works with small businesses to help just make sure that you're represented. You're the smaller person. When people come to Palm Springs, they want to visit all of the small shops. People still come to my shop and ask about places that have since gone, and they'd like to find something that's similar to that. So any sort of outreach would just be beneficial to a small business like mine to keep it going. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'd like to invite Zaino Mizani.
And Stephen, if you want, what we do at council meetings is also read the next person
next
so
one?
they can get in
So
line.
next up
so we
after
can-
Zaino will be Betty King.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Zaino Mizani. I have a branding company in Palm Springs since 2009. One thing, collaboration is key of the success for any businesses. One thing we learn to businesses to succeed, to have to build a consistency with the brand. So therefore, lack of consistency, they destroy the business. Reputation is the biggest factor of the businesses. So we realized why over 300 businesses we branded since 2009 in Palm Springs, why some of them died, one of them stay in business, why someone is more successful than the other one. One thing we learned is we have to learn about the collaboration and the reputation. That's what our platform is. I would like to introduce you of Chamber of Palm Springs and City of Palm Springs to help us to promote our new platform called Progressive Web App. That means customer can value instant engagement with the customers. They can do reward, royalty. That's what the customer wants. They want value. They want to be acknowledged as of madeinpalmsprings.com. So I would like the Chamber and City of Palm Springs to help us to promote this platform so all the business can engage with their customers instantly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Betty King, and followed by Sharon Jacobs.
Hi, I'm Betty King, and I wear many hats, and I have several businesses. But what I'm addressing today, which is what the prior two people talked about, is how I'm speaking for the small businesses, which I have helped 3 businesses in Palm Springs save themselves and turn their business around. And it's by creative thinking. And people, I tell people when they hire me for marketing, if you need somebody who thinks in the box, I'm not your person. I only know how to think out of the box because that's what's needed today to make things work. And just myself, today I got a phone call from a tour company and said, Betty, you have all the answers. Why did they kick all the seniors out of town? I said, what? Because they closed the Follies. I said, you're still welcome. He says, no, we're not welcome. I said, well, funny, I'm going to a meeting tonight. I'll bring that up. But that's how a lot of people and tour companies feel. And basically, I do a lot of bus tours called Shopping the Hidden Treasures of the Desert. And I want you to know that I bring people from down valley, as far as Indio, to Palm Springs. It's like they're going to Los Angeles or somewhere exciting to shop and see the new businesses to them, because many of them say, we don't come to Palm Springs, it's too far, nowhere to park, and if we do park, it's too far to walk, we don't know where anything is. And a lot of this could be addressed for the small businesses. I took a business that was down valley, kind of suffering, and a business up valley, and I had them exchange merchandise. So what was new to the fella in Palm Springs was old to the person. So they switched their merchandise. They both sold new merchandise in their store during the summer when it was very hard. They didn't have the money to lay out to buy new merchandise. And I don't know if there's anybody else here. Sharon doesn't want to speak, so I'm taking her time too. Sharon from the wardrobe. I don't know, has anybody been in business as long as she here? 47 years? Yes? Anybody? Well, Sharon, stand up at least. You won't speak. Oh, shy. Okay, Sharon has been in business on Indian Avenue, just moved to the couple years ago by Sherman's and on Tockwitz. And it's just amazing. She was the first one, she and her mother, to have the store open 7 days a week, including the summer months in Palm Springs. The second store of that nature was Frenchie's, following her. So she's got a lot of history in this desert, and she's seen how small businesses are having a rough time and really could use some help from the city. So if you're ever interested, I do have some creative ideas that could really help the small business that are really in dire need here.
Thank you. I want to invite Marina Rossi. Marina Rossi, followed by Matthew Bisquette.
Hello, everybody. My name is Marina Rossi, and my daughter and I own a small hotel in Palm Springs called the Rossi. It has been many different names over the years, but it's been in the family for 13 years. I am here most primarily to voice my support of what Kathy from the Monkey Tree spoke about. It's imperative that we give the respect to small businesses, especially businesses that are sensitive to noise during this boom construction period going on in Palm Springs. Large hotels can withstand these types of things. Small hotels have to prepare for these types of events. We cannot have bulldozers next to our rooms at 7 a.m. on April 5th, right in the heart of season. It's inappropriate. It's disrespectful of the investment that small businesses and individuals have made in this city. I've been coming to this town my entire life. I grew up swimming in the pool at the Riviera. I was terrorizing Palm Springs in the late 80s. I have seen a lot of changes here and invested a lot of money, blood, sweat, and tears in building a business that has, we're met with bulldozers. It's not appropriate. Again, it's not fair, and it was completely avoidable. So developers need to have restrictions placed on their permits. It's not okay to start at 7 a.m. in the morning without giving us notice. Just give us notice. Let us prepare. Let us let our guests know. Let us call our guests and say, hey, this is happening. Can we switch your dates? Can we refund your money? But just to welcome folks that have planned to come into this town for months, for honeymoons, so forth and so on, with bulldozers is not okay. Please support Kathy's idea. Thanks, Kathy. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, inviting Matthew Bisquette, followed by Joy Brown Meredith.
Good evening. My name is Matt Busquette. I've been a homeowner in Palm Springs for 16 years. I own 5 buildings in town, primarily on Palm Canyon. We have several dozen small business owners that we rent to. I have 5 themes I want to talk about real quickly. First is engagement with the Chamber of Commerce is outstanding. From our perspective, it has the broadest membership. It has the most comprehensive group of business people in Palm Springs, and we'd like to see the council engage with them on these kind of matters on an ongoing basis instead of some of the smaller niche organizations. The second thing is, it would be great to get from the council an updated vision on their vision of downtown. And I don't mean big building, small building. I mean, what do you think about how many national chains? How do you think about the ratio of national chains to individual small businesses, the ratio of service entertainment to retail? What do you think about upstairs? It doesn't have to be some long, expensive, drawn-out process, but we are in a place for a variety of reasons. Now, how do you think about it? Third, this is important. The cost of starting and running a business for a small business is rising exponentially in Palm Springs. As a business owner, we're sort of the front line and leading indicator for you guys in terms of the vibrancy of health of people starting new businesses. And with the influx of national chains, large developments, large national hotel chains, they have brought with them a level of expertise that has raised the expectation of staff and various committees in terms of what you need to bring to start up your business. So individual small businesses are being swamped by color swatches, palette drawings, 3-dimensional maps. I've had people walk away from town because they have said to start a business here would take them 3 or 4 months worth of revenue just to get through the committees. So I'd ask you to think about the rising level of expectation that we have that H&M can just haul in their national marketing department to deal with the requirements. Somebody trying to start up a little Japanese store, you got one guy who's trying to run the store and meet all of the various requirements. So I'd ask you to think about what we're doing to the individual small business in terms of how that helps. The next issue that our guys have overall is the who's drafting on who. And it's a belief that our tenants believe that they have been getting pushback, that they should be happy, that look at these great big national chains, isn't it wonderful, and all will be fine for you. And the truth is, in our town, our brand, Palm Springs, is a wonderful mix of small and big and all of it together. And we got to think about that, and we got to figure out how we can help nurture the small business as part of the entire process, because our guys are very, very concerned about that. And there were two things specifically that they talked about. One is they felt like a lot of money has gone to large developments in terms of either abatements or co-money sharing, and they'd like to bring back some of the facade grant and other sort of programs that had been out there before. And the second thing is there a different path through City Hall for somebody who's trying to open up a business that's going to do $100,000 a year versus $10 million a year? And do we have to put them through the same ringer and the same process and all the same forms and committees and things, because they're not going to do it? It's just too hard. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Inviting Joy Brown Meredith, followed by Tim Siegel.
Good afternoon. I'm Joy Brown Meredith. I'm the president of Main Street Palm Springs. And, you know, downtown and uptown Palm Springs is a very unique place. And one of the things that's happened recently is that we've gotten some of these national chains in. And everybody knows, Kathy Van Horn and I used to go to the California Downtown Association together, and I learned things there that I didn't know before because I'm a shop owner. And that said, every great downtown has to be a combination of independent businesses, regional businesses, and national chains. So now we do have those national chains coming, and it has caused quite a bit of buzz and excitement for downtown. Oh, I said buzz. That's a bad word. We won't talk about that one. But it has caused a lot of excitement in downtown. But I just really want to repeat some of the things that you have already heard today. And that said, as downtown business owners, we're scared. You know, there's a lot of attention going to these newer places, and here we are. You know, there are 500 businesses in downtown and uptown Palm Springs, and about 90% of those are independently owned. A lot of those people are voters here, they live here, and we just don't want to get forgotten in this mix of all this excitement. You know, we still have the same problems that we've been trying to deal with too, wondering, I don't know, maybe the restrooms have opened now in downtown. I don't know if they have or haven't. You know, parking, the signage issues with the portable signs, and I know that you're resolving some of that. Maybe it's time to talk about a marketing program again. We did have it before and it was very helpful. But I just really want to say, don't forget about us, because we are the ones that have been here all along with that big pile of dirt across the street for 15 years. So please, be kind to us. Thank you.
Thank you. So next we'll invite Tim Siegel, followed by John Warner.
My name is Tim Siegel, and I own a vacation rental here, but I'm also a community activist and a person who wants to see Palm Springs be the best it can be. So I've got two ideas I would like to propose. I noticed that when you're walking downtown, you come upon, you got great businesses and you're seeing all these, but then you come upon a vacant lot. Well, I noticed that feeling of, well, why should I go any further? And they tend to turn around and walk back. My idea would be, why not have a sign there that says what businesses are beyond this vacant lot and make you want to move a little further, make you want to walk and continue your walk. This would help a lot of those businesses beyond, especially like in the uptown districts where they have large parcels that are empty, but then all of a sudden you've got great businesses. So this would probably help our foot traffic to go all the way from one end to the other. So that was my first idea. The other idea I have is actually for the businesses, and that is that we create a sign that we can put that talks very nicely about how you can help panhandlers and how you can help them. We asked the citizens as well as the customers, visitors coming, not to give them cash, but instead maybe to text a number that gives $5, $10, whatever amount to the Well in the Desert, or maybe it gives it to the program that's been set up to find them homes. If we set this up and we put a little flyer in every window, maybe the visitors would get it, that giving them cash does not help our situation any. All it does is bring more here, and they find they're misappropriating those funds that could be used to really better their lives. So that was my other idea I'd like to share with people to think about. Maybe we could get them in the future.
Thank you.
So next we'd like to invite John Warner, followed by Dieter Crawford.
Hi folks, my name is John Warner. I moved to Palm Springs about a year ago from Los Angeles. I've been an entrepreneur 3 times over, and I've been working with startup companies for 30 years now. I'd like to propose what I think is a big idea. I think Palm Springs has done a wonderful job in the whole area of tourism and in hospitality and in restaurants. So much so that we're on the national stage and we're on the international stage. Pretty much everyone I know can talk about Palm Springs and know where it is and why they'd want to come here. But I think we've got to think about economic development beyond just those industries. So what could we possibly grow an industry in? And I think there's a wonderful demography we have in this city, and I think it's the older adult. I think it's everyone who's 50 plus in this marketplace. And I think we can create a climate in which we become the destination for ideation for that marketplace, because we're such a microcosm of that marketplace being here, particularly in Palm Springs. I think we can leverage the wonderful work that CVEP have done in the iHub that you've already alluded to. I think we can take that further. And I think through the lens of the older adult, I think we can start to address many of the issues that you've raised tonight. We can get people ideating on homelessness to supplement what you're already doing at council level. So we can take social side issues and social entrepreneurship, as well as getting people ideating in terms of new businesses and bringing new jobs to the city, which means people are participating in the city in every way, paying tax and all the things we'd want them to do, and even relocating to the city. People who perhaps participate virtually initially can actually see this as a pretty wonderful place to work as opposed to Silicon Valley or elsewhere, as it may be the case. I've got a lot of ideas about how that might happen. I'd love to talk to the council and to the city staff on that at some point as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
So next we'd like to invite Dieter Crawford, followed by Adam Gilbert.
And we know that you can't pitch us your ideas in 2 minutes, so you can always email either of us or city staff, and I would look forward to those emails for your ideas so that we can follow up and sit down with you and talk about some of your proposals. Thank you.
Good evening, good evening. My name is Dieter Crawford, and I'm the owner of UrbanPalmSprings.com. I'm also a member of the Desert Highland Gateway Estates Community Action Association, and I'm speaking tonight on their behalf. The Desert Highland Gateway Estates neighborhood is located on the north side of Palm Springs and is bordered by Transview Road to the north, Highway 111 to the west, San Rafael Road to the south, and Indian Canyon Drive to the east. The majority of the community members are low to middle income and are predominantly African American or Hispanic. The Desert Highland Gateway Estates Community Action Association is one of the oldest neighborhood associations in Palm Springs. We are a committee that aspires to provide a better quality of life for its community members. The committee acts as a mechanism for open communication, participation, and collaboration between community members and the city of Palm Springs. We work to improve the physical character of the neighborhood as well as encourage new development in the community. The Desert Highland Gateway Estates Community Action Association hopes to see a community that is one day beautiful, safe, clean, and stronger. The community is comprised of approximately 480 households made up of single-family homes and multifamily apartment complexes. The Desert Highland neighborhood consists of 196 single-family and multifamily residences and 97 vacant lots, including 2 federally subsidized apartment complexes. Commercial development in the neighborhood is comprised primarily of retail uses located along Indian Canyon Drive between San Rafael Road, and Rosa Parks Road. Commercial development in this section includes a convenience store, a fueling station, and a tile and stone retail store. The southeast portion of the neighborhood consists of a wide mix of smaller commercial, industrial uses, and single-family and multifamily residential. Development in that area is also interspersed with vacant parcels. There are over 40 businesses within this section, including automotive repair and maintenance, automotive towing and storage, equipment repair shops, a metal plating shop, and a metal recycling center. Also, a film and photography studio. The neighborhood is also home to the 18-acre City of Palm Springs Desert Highland Park and adjoining James Odessi Desert Highland Unity Center, which will be a future CV Link access point. There are excellent event and meeting spaces, all within walking distance of Chino Canyon, Palm Springs Aerial Tramway, and the Santa Rosa and San Jacinto National Monuments. So if you're planning to move, relocate, expand your business, or launch a startup, I just wanted to let you know that Desert Highland Gateway Estates is open for business. Thanks for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'd like to invite Adam Gilbert, followed by Bruce Hoban.
Hello. Adam Gilbert, Gilbert Avery at Real Estate in Palm Springs. I wanted to talk a little bit in regards to incentive about education. There's a number of organizations that I'm a part of that I end up having to go out to Los Angeles, Santa Monica, or Orange County for educational opportunities. I thought it would be great to incentivize these educational programs to come to Palm Springs that often have national and international participants. And in addition, I think it would be great if we could incentivize, you know, even if it's business development, social media marketing type classes, and give incentives to local businesses so we can send our employees to those classes so that they can gain skills that could help us, help them, you know, generate more income for themselves and grow businesses here in Palm Springs.
Thank you. Next, we'd like to invite Bruce Hoban, followed by David Powell.
Hi there, my name is Bruce Hoban. I was really pleased to see the logo on the bottom right there of all the logos for Vacation Rental Owners and Neighbors. That's the first time I've ever seen that. I'm one of the co-founders of that 1 year ago. I'm here to talk about a really bad economic idea, banning vacation rentals. While last year we did $1.3 billion in total gross revenue in the city, we're going to eliminate $200 million if vacation rentals are banned. And one other really important number for the community and the people in this room, please. There are about 12,000 bedrooms and hotel rooms if you add them all together. If the vacation rental ban goes through, we lose 46% of those rooms. That's about half the places for our tourists to sleep. So it is about tourism. It's about the fact that the town runs on tourism, and we want to maintain our tourism in our small hotels, our large hotels, and our vacation rentals. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hoban. And unless there's anybody else that wants to make a comment tonight, our last person is David Powell.
Good evening, I'm David.
Hello.
I guess everyone else was just quiet. David Powell, I'm Executive Director of the Desert Business Association. One thing I'd like to say is we want to be a partner up there. You have DGTG and we have others. So DBA, which Jamie knows well, we are one of your partners.
Members.
We are, yes, you are members. We partner with everybody. One of the things is business outreach. When the Planning Commission had the meeting last week, it was incredible that we didn't see very many businesses there. The only three that were there were Joy Meredith representing both Main Street and Crystal Fantasy, Gregory representing the Flower Shop, and me representing the Desert Business Association. Why? Maybe one of it is the fact that it's a 1 o'clock meeting. And I think one of those things 2 or 3 years ago when people were running for election asked that and said maybe we should put meetings at night. Fully in agreement with that because that's the busy time of the day for people, particularly our small businesses. So move some of those things at night. Even though some small businesses also have night issues, there's a challenge and a balance there. The second is the noticing. And as a comment I made then, I'm not sure what the noticing is for downtown or when you have an issue like that or an ordinance with a public hearing, but from talking to some of my members, and it's nice, Nona, I have some of my members here too, that they didn't get notice. And maybe the minimum that we can do should be increased to what more we can do. In addition, we could look at having some study sessions or things with either city staff, the director of the department, or someone with some of the small businesses to get their feedback outside. Doesn't have to be a council member, it doesn't have to be a public hearing, doesn't have to be noticed, but it could be working through Main Street, looking at these study sessions or looking at these feedback opportunities. The sign ordinance was very important. It even evolved during that Planning Commission meeting. So I think some of those things could be broadened a little bit. And that's not only for downtown, it's also for uptown, and it's also for Smoke Tree. Last thing, as Mr. Gilbert was talking about, bringing education here. One of the things that we're working with is working with our small businesses. So important. We're going to be working with CVEP and Palm Springs Chamber and all the chambers to bring some small business education and preparing them on a grant with Southern California Edison to do capability statements, to work on government contracting, prepare them for government contracts, prepare them for interviewing, things like that. So we want to work with all of the small businesses, including some of the other minority chambers, Women Business Association, and we will reach out to Jamie to say, we need a space and we want to do it cheaply, so we're looking here in our town. So those are our comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone who has not had a chance to share a thought or idea that wanted to this evening? Yes?
Good evening. My name is Valerie Belloso, and I work for a local nonprofit called Accion. We're actually located in CVEP. We are a nonprofit micro-lending organization here to support, small businesses. I'm happy to see you nod your head, which means that you've heard of Accion. But we're newer to the area as of the last 2 years, and I think a lot of the businesses that came up and shared a lot of the challenges that they've had may not be aware of such a great local resource. First and foremost, we provide flexible access to small business capital, small business loans, as well as really providing a host of a comprehensive approach to working with small businesses, providing them opportunities for promotion, connecting with other local resources. I was happy to hear the last gentleman talking about workshops and mentoring and advising and coaching, which is really what we embody. We are part of a national network, which really allows us to not only have a local presence and see the needs of the local business owners, but also be able to bring in national partnerships such as Sam Adams. The Boston Beer Company is one of our national partners through our Brewing the American Dream program, which is specifically for food, beverage, and hospitality businesses, really providing them direct access to Sam Adams folks to get coaching and mentoring within that industry, opportunities for collaborating on products, collaborating on beers, and it's really a great way to have those resources. And the fact that we are local, we'd love to do more with the city, we'd love to do more with the chamber, and just really collaborate to address a lot of the needs here of the small businesses. So thank you for your time, and thank you for being so hospitable. So,
thank you.
Thank you.
There, Michael Vallejo. I own a local vacation rental company. It just occurred to me, the hardest problem I have is hiring people, and I don't know that this is a city issue or a chamber issue, but if there was some kind of, there must be talented people in this city who are looking for jobs, and I have such a hard time finding them. So if there was a way to, don't say never, no, I have a few, but if we could find a way to sort of maybe have a way to streamline that process and find local talent that are looking for jobs, because we are constantly trying to hire people and it's really hard. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Natalie Orta, and I'm the Senior Area Manager for the U.S. Small Business Administration, the SBA here in the Coachella Valley. I'd really like to work more closely with the Chamber, with the City of Palm Springs. Our agency is there for small businesses. We're there to help small businesses start, grow, and succeed, with access to capital, with technical assistance. One-on-one counseling is absolutely free. We do workshops. We work with CVEP, with Accion, with the DBA. We're here for small businesses. Actually, we're also going to have a regulatory fairness hearing on May 1st in Indio for any businesses that have issues with any federal regulatory issues that are burdensome to them. So we're the SBA, your federal tax dollars at work, and we're at your service. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any last comments?
First, thank you all for coming. These were great ideas. Really appreciate people having thought of things to bring to us, because that really will help us. We are going to set up a monthly meeting. We will do it after 5 o'clock. Thank you for the feedback. And either Anthony or David, how can people sign up on the website to get notices of meetings? Can you?
Actually, I'm going to ask Amy to come and address that.
Okay. Amy got me set up when I started, so she's good at that.
Hi, everyone. If you go to our website, palmspringsca.gov, you can just go to the front page. At the very top, it says e-notification, and you can sign up for any kind of agenda or meeting agenda that you're looking for.
Okay, thank you.
Great. And once we will get a time for May, and then we'll make it a standing, so it's the same time every month, so people know about it ahead of time, so we can make it really easy for folks to come. I want to mention two things. One is, Jamie mentioned the Certified Tourism Ambassador Program, which is really for any frontline folks. So it's not just for people who work in hotels or restaurants. Police officers do it in a lot of cities, so we're going to make sure the chief knows about it. Retail, but we're looking at doing a second phase of it, which is going to be training programs for employees who want to move up in their businesses. So that is going to be a second phase that we're looking to do. So we'll keep people posted as that program moves forward, but I did want to let folks know about that as well.
Thank you. This was just really meaningful and powerful for us, so we're really grateful for the feedback. I mean, we're here to serve you and your businesses and help support you. We know that local businesses are important to our economy. We're not here to just support big chains. We really want to support everyone, and we know that a lot of us work in areas that aren't tourism as well, and so we really need to hear from you to be able to take that back into our work. So this is really important, and thank you for being here. If you didn't want to speak but you still have comments, I think you can still fill out a comment card and we'll look those over and get those, or if you want to email us, we're quite accessible, so that we really do want to hear from you so that we can be pro-business in Palm Springs and we can continue all to thrive together. So even if you don't want to comment, please, you know that we're here. You can come to our standing subcommittee meetings where there's public comment every month. We really do want to hear from you. And thank you for all your time, and thank you to staff for being here and setting this up.
Thank you, Stephen.
You bet. Jamie or Nona, any last thoughts?
Well, I ditto exactly what Christy said. I think it's really enlightening to hear your concerns and your thoughts, especially about small business, which mainly makes up our Chamber of Commerce. And it's really interesting because I've got several board members here, but it gives us information to take back so we can develop programs and services for you and for those concerns. So I think this has been amazing and great information. We are always looking for ways to help you succeed in your business, and I think Stephen will agree this is going to give us a lot of food for thought on what we can do to help market, because I heard marketing plans for smaller businesses. So I think we've got some really good ideas, and I thank everybody for having the courage to come forward.
Okay. Jamie?
Yeah, one of the things that I want to briefly touch on, and Nona mentioned through the Chamber, our Business Advocacy Committee, and I'm also on the Chamber board, talk about wearing different hats, but that is a great opportunity for members of our business community to gain access both to city staff, to state legislatures, to the federal staff, et cetera. We have representation from all the elected officials, not only from the city, but the state level and the federal government level. So that will be an even better opportunity for you to kind of get to those folks. You'll be seeing some information come out from the Chamber. We're also streamlining those processes to make access a lot easier with that group. And again, it's great to see so many familiar faces here. As I said, tourism is a very important thing in the city of Palm Springs, and we work really hard to get that word out and to maintain that brand and the positive momentum, and really appreciate the partnership that we receive from all the stakeholders in the city, and together we make this place like no place else. So thank you.
So one last comment I have is that we sent out the Chamber of Commerce sent out a survey for business owners and people working in local businesses. Raise your hand if you saw it, filled it out. So not everyone here. So, part of our goal was to talk about short-term goals and short-term things that we can do to promote and support local businesses, and then longer-term things, which we understand, like growing the workforce, making sure people can live here and work here as well, and doing things like improving talent and providing training opportunities, which we're doing with the College of the Desert. But if you could maybe send that out again, or if you could go, it's on the website.
It's on the
chamber.
website. So what I could do is just leave it open for however a period of time. If you would like to take the time to go and put your thoughts in.
What's the website?
pschamber.org. Very easy.
So that way we left a lot of open-ended questions, so you can provide comments too, and then we look over all of that. We had hoped that it would be a wide array of different issues and ideas. It really was pretty targeted on the sign ordinance and things like that. So if you have other ideas, please take that survey and please share them with us. Thank you.
So we just want to say thank you for everyone who brought their ideas and their willingness to share, and thanks to the panel listening. We want to remind everyone that there is the city's budget town hall on April 24th. It's at 6 p.m. at City Hall in the council chamber if you'd like to attend. And then there is also a community forum at 5:30 on Tuesday, May 1st, back here at the Palm Springs Convention Center. And while the panel was talking, somebody from the County of Riverside dropped off a number of brochures about business incentives and workplace, and they're up here on the front table if anybody would like to grab one before they leave.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.